Let's solve this equation for x. Notice that I have two. There's a couple ways you can do this problem. I'm going to do it the easiest way. It equals 3. The tangent is sine x over cosine x equals 0. Now, I'm going to clear the fraction. The reason I do this is because you can do that. You can multiply everything in the equation by the cosine of something. That's one of the algebra things you can do, is multiply by a non-zero number. So I'm going to multiply that through. I'll get 2 cosine squared of x minus 3 sine of x. Notice the cosines canceled when I multiply that through, equals 0. 0 times cosine is 0. Now I notice that I can turn cosine squared into sine squared, and I need to turn these both into the same thing. And since I have a squared here, it's easier to turn that into 1 minus sine squared of x. If you remember, sine squared plus cosine squared equals 1, that Pythagorean identity. So I just solved for cosine squared by subtracting. Okay? And then minus 3 sine of x equals 0. Now I distribute that in, and I'm going to clean it up. In fact, I'm going to move everything to the right side of the equation, so I'm doing a lot at once here. So I distribute the 2 in, but then since that's a negative in front of the sine squared, I want to make that a positive, so I add it to the other side. So it's 2 sine squared of x plus 3 sine of x, because I moved it over to the other side, minus 2 equals 0. Whoops, that was already there. Equals 0 is already there. So let's see if this factors. I've got a 2 sine and a 1 sine. 2 sine of x and a 1 sine of x, and I've got to have a positive and a negative. So I'm going to put the positive 2 here and the negative 1 there, because that'll give me positive 4 minus 1, which is positive 3. Alright, and those things all equal 0, so now I'm going to set each one of these equals 0. I'll do that over here in my space up here. So 2, when I set this, color code this. When I set this one equal to 0 up here, again I'm going to skip some steps. I've got the sine x equals 1/2. So where, by the way, the solution they wanted between 0 and 2 pi. Where is the sine of x equal to positive 1/2? Look at your unit circle. The sine is the y coordinate. So that's at positive are in the first and second quadrant.
Pi over 3.
So it's a pi over 6.
Pi over, yep.
Pi over 6. So x equals pi over 6 and
5 pi over 6.
Pi over 6 and 5 pi over 6, first and second quadrant. And then if I set the other one equal to 0, this one right here, I get the sine of x equals negative 2. And can I ever get the sine of something being a number bigger than the absolute value of 1? And the answer is I cannot, so there's no solution for this part. So your only answers are pi over 6 and 5 pi over 6 between 0 and 2 pi.